However, there is, of course, the splendid Mr. Cuccinelli in Virginia, the Attorney General there, who is busy chasing after Professor Mann at the Penn State University to find out whether he, for the sake of getting grants, had in any way been improperly handling or using or processing official data. And that inquiry is still very much continuing. Pachauri was being investigated by the UK Charity Commission for having filed bogus accounts 3 years in a row in a charity in the UK of which he is the sole trustee, and it's the trustees whose job it is to file correct accounts. The Charity Commission, likewise part of the establishment, has now said, well, actually, we're not going to go after him. We're not even going to ask him to produce accounts for the year in which irregularities were proved by the complainant. We're going to make him produce accounts for a year that was 2 years later than the year in which the problem arose. So clearly, the most extraordinary lengths are being gone to by the public authorities worldwide to cover up the defalcations and the criminalities of the likes of Al Gore and Pachauri. And they're not actually going to go after any of these people because these people are part of the same establishment that ought to be going after them and bringing them to book.
Well, Lord Monckton, what do we do then with this quandary or this paradox of government stands to have the biggest increase in tax funding in human history?
Yes.
A new form of total feudalism and serfdom is openly being established. So how can the government, that is the beneficiary robber class, the new kings and queens, you know, the new global lords of the people, how then can this group ever judge their own minions, their own operatives, if they're cutting off their own new global religion and funding mechanism?
Well, there you're asking one of the oldest questions in the history of the philosophy of government. And in Latin, it was quis custodiet ipsos custodes. Who will watch over those who are supposed to be watching over us? Who will be the policeman of the policeman? And that's one of the most difficult questions to answer. However, in a democracy, which you still have in America and we don't have here in Europe because we are now governed by unelected commissars, but you still have a Congress, and the only people who can make laws for you are your elected congressmen and senators under Article 1, Section 1 of your Constitution. 3 magic words will tell you what to do with these wretches. Vote them out.
Well, that brings me to my next issue. How they're regrouping worldwide. They seem to double down in England, double down in the United States, double down in Australia. When one crook gets thrown out, the establishment, especially in the parliamentary system, tends to put an even more extreme person in. But here in the U.S., every incumbent and everyone who's seen as an establishment candidate in all the off-year elections and primaries are being defeated by giant record margins. And the people are so angry that we've never had a political realignment where it was against the entire political system since 1776. And other political scientists agree with me. The polls show it. Usually one party's in favor, another is out of favor. Yeah. This is a total realignment against the entire system. And the system is coming in with Obama saying, well, I'll just restrict your free speech. I'll just put in Chinese-style net censorship. I'll put black boxes in your house. We'll make it illegal, as Cass Sunstein has said at the White House, to say, I don't believe in anthropogenic global warming. I mean, they are, instead of backing off, they're throwing the gauntlet down and saying, I am Tyrannus. I'm coming after you.
That's right. However, the Republicans are beginning to respond to this. They've begun to realize that the Tea Party movement is directed as much at them as it is at the Democrats, telling both parties to raise their game. The Democrats are resorting to insult and, as you say, to police state measures, taking away your Fifth Amendment, not your Fifth Amendment rights, the First Amendment right to free speech, by saying that you won't in future be allowed to say that global warming isn't a problem. That kind of thing is intolerable in a free society. And there is absolutely no way Obama is going to get away with that, because the Republicans are beginning at last to wake up. I've spent a lot of time in Congress over the last year, talking to members of both houses, testifying in front of committees of Congress, and one of the things that's become quite apparent is that the Republicans, who were at first, a year ago, saying, well, We're very happy to argue this on the economics because it makes no sense to do anything about this, even if the problem's as big as the UN says it is. We can all see that, but we don't think we dare get into the science. Now, I said to them very bluntly, I said, look, if you don't get into the science, the other side will simply say, but the planet is at risk, and therefore whatever the economic cost, whatever the economic damage, we have to save the planet, and therefore you have to deal with the science. Otherwise, however sensible your economic argument, the other side will pay no attention.
The science is the key because it takes the moral high ground away from them and shows them to premeditated fraudsters.
And that is the point which the Republicans have now got very, very firmly on board. There are now many senior figures in both houses, I'm not going to name names because it's not fair to them, they will go public as and when they think it right, who are very clearly understanding that the science doesn't add up anymore, that they have failed and failed and failed again on the other side to produce convincing arguments. And they are now not going to tolerate any form of cap and trade, and they've made that quite plain to the Democrats, which is
all
why
right, Lord Monckton, stay there. Stay there. We got to go to break. Come back and tell us more of what the insiders told you and how you see the eugenicists, the feudalists, the feudal lords striking back at us on the other side.
This is not a drill. Repeat, this is not a drill. Gun sales are on a staggering pace. Gun prices are going through the roof, and that means desperate, vicious criminals now want your guns and will do anything to get them. Now, a new book reveals powerful secrets for hiding your guns from thieves and looters. You'll learn step-by-step, battle-hardened techniques, where to hide your guns so criminals will never find them, how to create the perfect hiding place, as well as the places you should never hide your guns, under any circumstance. These and other closely guarded gun caching secrets are guaranteed to keep your weapons safe and out of sight when the going gets tough. But listen up. For security reasons, the Hide Your Guns book and even the website may disappear without warning at any time. Go to hideyourguns.com. That's hideyourguns.com. Or call 877-327-0365 before they come for your guns. Hideyourguns.com right now. Right now.
The question is, where should the American people draw their line in the sand?
What have we got? A republic or a monarchy?
A republic is based on a constitution which protects minority rights.
Not democracy, not mob rule, two wolves and a sheep voting on what's for dinner.
So they think they own our land, they think they own our water, children, our education, our money.
So we have to define who we are and what we will tolerate.
Somebody's going to ask you what you did during the Patriot Uprising.
You have been warned.
We have the facts. We have the Constitution. We have the Bill of Rights. We have common law. Knowledge is power, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm so excited to be able to offer you Don't Tread on Me, Rise of the Republic. Tyranny is upon us, but liberty and the sleeping giant that is the American people is rising. A new tool in the info war. Don't Tread on Me. Order it at Infowars.com or PrisonPlanet.com or call toll-free 888-253-3139 and support independent, patriotic Liberty films.
Are you wondering about your retirement portfolio? Are you confident that the financial advisor is experienced enough to combat climbing interest rates, taxes, and inflation? Stop guessing and go to the expert, Robert Chapman of the International Forecaster. When you subscribe to the International Forecaster, you get Robert Chapman's 45 years of experience and concise investment recommendations. Who needs sugar-coated excuses when you can get the cold hard facts and proven investment leads you can't get anywhere else? For a free introductory copy to Robert Chapman's International Forecaster, subscribe now at theinternation.forecaster.com or call 877-479-8178. Experience the difference. When you subscribe, you can email Robert Chapman directly to obtain investment advice tailored just for you. Don't wait another minute. Subscribe today at theinterntionalforecaster.com or call 877-479-8178. That's 877-479-8178.
You worry, but only because you're paying attention. What's happening in the Gulf of Mexico illustrates an audacity toward nature. A similar audacity called GMO, or genetically modified organisms, means that the quality of commercially grown food may be compromised with our health in the balance. Now that summer's here, what better time to learn about the bounty that nature provides in wild edible food? Let author Linda Runyon show you the best-kept secret in plain sight, that food is everywhere you look. This summer, for the cost of a good meal or two out, you can literally starvation-proof yourself and your loved ones against any future craziness, and put up tons of free food, too. Whatever experiment is being run on us, you can rest assured that Linda's 50 or so staple foods aren't involved. Our foods are their enemy. So go to ofthefield.com or call toll-free 1-888-51-EAT-FREE and take that first step. Make your oasis of food security and nutrition now. That's OFTHEFIELD.com or call 1-888-513-2837. Start now and make 2010 your year of independence.
Lord Christopher Monckton, 3rd Viscount of Brenchley and Monckton, is our guest. Scienceandpublicpolicy.org is the key website to see the actual science, the research,